I was seeing something that I tell people about, a gender war in the making. There was this gender war where the feminists were becoming more militant and men were becoming more defensive. So I felt that men were being labeled wrongly. Males were being labeled wrongly, even boys.
I can't say that I think there is a need for International Men's Day debate.
Well, because I think we talk a lot about women issues these days, right? So, but then we don't talk anymore about men issues. I don't even know what a man issue is, but we never hear about it.
Well, it's always been a man's world, and I don't think it's changed as much as it should have done.
This was in the 1990s. I was sensing this, that the men and the males were seen as violent, were seen as aggressive, were seen as perpetrators of violent crimes. You might hear the expression, the absentee father. You might have heard, that, boy, my father is a deadbeat dad, So I felt that men were being labeled wrongly. Males were being labeled wrongly, even boys. Boys were being seen, in the classroom as being disruptive. You hear about bullying, you would say, well, this boy doing the bullying. You hear a fight occur, and immediately somebody would think about the boy is the instigator.
I think it's important for men to break their silence. For some reason, men have become very silent in our society, and that silence facilitates suffering. Injustices, suffering, sicknesses, diseases. There are many concerns that men have that are not being brought forward because of that silence. So I think it's important that men break the silence and be given a space to speak and be heard. Because we have in our society the problem of when men speak, they are branded as weak for speaking out, or they're branded as bitter or hateful for speaking out. We need a safe space where men can speak out, just as women have that safe space.
When you look at some of the cultural factors in terms of being male and some of the expectations, some of the demands, some of this, you're expected to be in charge, always in control of emotions, to not be very vocal in terms of emotional issues, to be more logical, more reasonable, more rational rather. These sort of messages that we continue to feed our young men growing up, it's really contributing to the fact that the alexithymia that I raised in my presentation, where people don't understand their emotions and they don't understand others' emotions, and they are unable to express it ultimately. So you have males resorting to more stereotypical coping mechanisms like substance abuse, or other type of reckless behaviors, such as ultimately suicide, when in fact they need much more specific care.
Men do have issues, both with themselves, they have prostate issues, they have other issues, also too a lot of mental issues. Suffer from depression. It's easy to go suffer from depression, especially when income is not able to generate income. Leads to alcoholism, smoking, and escalation of social issues around men that need to be addressed and probably not adequately being addressed, not just from a national level but globally.
the 2016 theme for International Men's Day was male suicide among men. And that was a topic close to me because earlier that year in February, I lost one of my cousins. He committed suicide. So that was a kind of eye-opener for my family and I, that he was very depressed, but we did not know. And one of the reasons for that is because he generally conducted himself as a macho man. He, I would say, would fit this idea of the ideal Caribbean man. You know, when you listen to our music, you listen to our soca, you listen to dancehall from Jamaica, is very, very masculine. You listen to, I can't remember the artist, the Jamaican artist, but they always want the girl to take a ride on the big bike, right? You know, why I can't sing what you have a little scooter and, you know, you're going on the corridor with very, very macho music, right? And so we have this idea of what a man is supposed to be in the Caribbean. And even when I used to teach Caribbean civilization, gender was a big topic in that course. And when I would talk about equality and asking the male students, you know, how would you feel if your girlfriend beat you up? She slapped you up. And you feel very hurt about that. Naturally, a human being, you would feel hurt. But who is there for you to turn to?
I would say after about 5 years. After about 5 years, because you know, every year the idea started to spread further. Every year I told myself, I'm going to write a different prime minister of another country. Every year I keep on saying, you know, I'm going to increase, I'm going to do 10 more prime ministers. I'm going to go on the internet and find the emails for people in India, men's groups. So every year I set myself a target. Every year I face disappointments. But in the early stages, I would say in the first 10 years of this International Men's Day promotion, 1999 till about 2008, 2009, every year I would keep on telling myself, it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. And I kept on telling myself too that the people in Trinidad don't appreciate it. And if they do have something here, it is sparsely attended and very, very small attendance. The only spark that kept it alive was to see the interest that was happening abroad. There was a fire burning abroad that really had me saying something is going to happen.
No more child abuse! No more child abuse! No more child abuse! What do we want? Justice for children! When do we want it? Now!
We're somehow just power because we're white men. Maybe it's just because you're...
This year has been fantabulous for the men's movement. It's just grown and it's making national news. I know I see buses now with the Movember adverts on them. I see Samaritan adverts in train stations. Men's issues are now coming to the forefront. We are finally talking about them, where it was always done behind closed doors. It was always hush-hush. If you talk about men and boys, you were somehow deemed a misogynist.
And that's what you want for men, is it, Philip Davies? An exact replica of that debate about men around the world?
Yeah, absolutely. There are issues that affect women, and I've taken part in debates on International Women's Day before, and like I said, I've granted them when I was on the backbench business committee.
Thank you for your sorority.
All I ask is that we actually have real equality, and I don't know what Jessie's so worried about in allowing these men's issues to be debated.
Well,
just
I
as
look forward to seeing both of you.
Issues.
I look forward to seeing both of you in that debate.
Margaret Ferrier.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I would like to extend my appreciation to the Honourable Member for Shipley and others involved for securing this backbench business debate today. Quite often when we discuss gender issues, the focus seems to be on women. Whilst that may be for good reason, it is vital that gender-based issues affecting men or matters that may be more prevalent for men are not overlooked. Today's debate is important and sends a strong signal to men everywhere that these issues are to be taken seriously in this place. Though society has made great steps forward in breaking down deep-rooted patriarchal attitudes, we still have far to go. It is sadly still considered a societal norm to tell someone to man up if they are perceived as showing any weakness. Idiomatic terms like this are telling someone to be a man about it, are a reflection of the roles many people expect, whether consciously or subconsciously, for men to play. Much in the same way that misogynist values are challenged, perhaps we need to be a little more open-minded about what we view as misandrous.
For the last 10 years, International Men's Day is being celebrated in many cities across India. In years 2007 and 2008, there was stiff resistance from women's rights advocates, mainly because Men's Day was celebrated, or rather, Men's Day was observed by a small group of men, small groups of men who were affected by anti-male laws. And the focus of both the feminists as well as the men's rights advocates was mostly on victimhood, comparing men and women to declare who was worse off. Thanks to the spirit of celebration that was introduced by Jerome Tilak Singh and team, International Men's Day has gained acceptance and recognition all across the country. Now International Men's Day is being celebrated at workplaces, on the streets. There are messages in the media as well as commercials about Men's Day. So it went from a very small observance to a very big celebration in the last 1 decade. So in my observation, International Men's Day has become a medium to bridge the gaps between the genders, to improve understanding and appreciation of gender differences, and to improve gender relations, especially among young people. It's the celebration of men and masculinity which keeps me always inspired to work for the promotion of International Men's Day. Thanks to the celebratory spirit and the celebration of masculinity and men and boys, we have now reached a point where nobody asks why should we celebrate International Men's Day anymore.
Women's Day पे dinner और greeting card, Valentine's Day पे गुब्बारे वाला heart, Teachers Day पे sentimental SMS, और Men's Day पे
men भी खुदा के बच्चे हैं, क्या इतने लोफर लुच्चे हैं,
Men's Day पे ही क्यों सन्नाटा everywhere,
so not fair.
I believe the importance today about talking about men, it gives us a chance to highlight men in a very positive way. Because all over the world, in many different forms and fashion, men are being highlighted, but not positively. But we are here to restore men, to restore them as men, as sons, to restore them as men, as husbands, to restore them as men at home, men in the community, but to do it in a positive way, not ignoring our challenges. But we are training men to be hurdlers. We recognize in life there are hurdles, but we need to have coaches of men that teach men very young from the womb how to hurdle the challenges of life. So when the challenge comes, we will not ignore it, but we are trained with both character and competency to straddle those hurdles in excellence. We might knock down one or two, but we will run within the boundaries that have been given to us by our mothers, by our fathers, by our coaches, by our uncles, by our friends, by our community, by our governments, and by our faith-based organization. So men can become that which was intended for them, because men are the strength of the nation. And therefore today is an important day to recognize us as making our contribution, but yet and still dealing with our struggles and our challenges.
क्यों ना अभी से करे मिलके मेंस डे सेलिब्रेट, सेलिब्रेट शो